We weren't meant to be here today, but we're glad you could join us as the weather in the Pacific Northwest moved today's game from Seattle to Portland as the Red Hawks visit the Portland Pilots in the Rose City. We welcome you to Joe Etzel Field for tonight's contest. I'm Brian Slyke. I'm joined by my friend and head coach at Mount Hood Community College, Corey Keir, and we'll have your call this afternoon. Both teams are off to a slower start than they would like at a combined 2-12, but what a perfect way to start your turnaround than a midweek matchup. Seattle U has won 3 straight against Portland and look to use that momentum to get their first win of the season. It won't be easy, though, for them, Corey, as they face left-hander Ryan Rembisz.
Yeah, Rembisz is an experienced left-hand arm with a 3-pitch mix and a really good breaking ball. He's had a lot of different roles up here on the bluff, and it's really nice to see him on the mound for the start today.
On the Red Hawks side of things, this team has scored first in each of their last 4 games despite dropping all 4 of those contests. It's Vicente Feliciano who has been their leader. The junior from Auburn, Washington's batting .267 through 7 starts this year. Leads the Red Hawks in hits with 8 and an RBI with 7, and he's got 2 home runs to show for it as well as he tries to get the Red Hawks their first win of the regular season. When we return, we've got the rest of your starters and the lineups coming up next from Joe Etzel Field on ESPN+. It's not necessarily the most perfect weather here in the Northwest, but we'll take the cloudiness here. Now, no rain so far in the afternoon. As we welcome you back to Joe Etzel Field, Brian Slyke and Corey Keir with first pitch just a couple moments away. See Ryan Rembisz on the mound, he's senior from Woodinville, Washington. 1-0 on the year through 6 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, striking out 4 in just this early portion of the season. First pitch strike to Kenny Ishikawa, the designated hitter for the Red Hawks today. Ishikawa, the sophomore, hitting .250, starting all 7 games for the Red Hawks. Pulls this one to Zach Talia over at first. He'll step on the bag. 3 unassisted in the scorebook, and there's 1 away.
Center fielder, number 17, Sam.
The batting order for Seattle U, you just saw Kenny Ishikawa getting the start, the leadoff man. Sam Kane will be batting second. Vicente Feliciano, our player to watch for the Red Hawks, will be batting third. Reese Harmon bats cleanup. Jared Stevenson, the right fielder, will bat fifth. The first pitch from Rembisz, just below the knees and out of the zone, ball 1. Jackson Lynn is the starting catcher, batting 6th. Sebastian Lopez over at the hot corner, batting 7th. Tyler Peterson at shortstop, batting 8th. And then Tervel Johnson out in left field. Big swing and a miss on the second pitch from Rembisz, makes it 1-1. Kane, just a sophomore, batting .188, making his 8th start of the season. Here's a ball into foul territory. Talia turning his back to us and cannot make the catch as he tried to dive for it in foul territory. And he'll go for a strike, 1-2 on Kane. Kane, a sophomore from Reno, Nevada. Marked as a utility player on this roster. Goes after the high fastball from Rembisz, strikes out. 2 gone for the Red Hawks.
Brian, it's great to be back in the booth with you here with the 4th game here up on the bluff, right?
Oh, yeah. We get back into action here. It's a rough weekend for the Pilots against Creighton. Here's the starting lineup defensively for Portland. First pitch is a strike just below the letters far side of the plate, 0-1 to Feliciano. Defensively for Portland, Aaron Lewis getting the start in left. Gage Bruce out in center. Riley McCarthy is in right field. Spencer Scott over at third. Jonas Salk is your starting shortstop. This ball hit foul and out into the netting above the dugout for Portland, 0-2. Brady Bean is over at second base. Zach Tilley at first. And Tyler Howard is your starting catcher for the Pilots today.
Yeah, the big question is, where is Pataxel and Holcroft? It's an interesting lineup when they don't have your name in it.
Well, we'll get you that information. I know you haven't been here. We'll tell you where they're at when we come back from the break. A strikeout for Rembisz, 2 of them, as they go 1-2-3 in the first inning. No runs, no scores, nobody left on base. We head to the bottom of the first. Salk, Lewis, and Bean come to the plate. 0-0 ball game. Now it's time for the Pilots with their first chance up at the plate, and they're going to be going up against Micah Hagler. Corey, this is a young arm that Seattle U is pretty high on.
Yeah, I mean, he's out of Bellevue Community College. He's the word I got, he's a 4 to 5 pitch mix. So he's got a lot of different arsenals. He's going to run it up to 90 miles an hour, and he's a complete workhorse. He had 88 innings last year at Bellevue Community College, and then he pitched 40 in the summer. So he's got a great arm, and we're going to see what it looks like today.
Yeah, he's thrown 5 innings of work so far this season, 4 strikeouts to just 1 walk as he makes his second start, 4th appearance on the season with a 3.60 ERA. He has allowed 10 hits during that span, and opponents were hitting .435 against him.
The battery for the Redhawks.
Now let's get to the starting lineup for the Portland Pilots. Jonas Salk will be leading things off, the starting shortstop today. Aaron Lewis, the freshman, getting the start out in the left field. Brady Bean, a familiar name, will get the start at second base. He platooned the outfield quite a bit last year for Portland. Curtis Hebert is the designated hitter. Tyler Howard will be your catcher, batting 5th. Zach Talia, the first baseman, batting 6th. Spencer Scott, followed by Riley McCarthy, getting a start out in right field. Normally a catcher for Portland, and then Gage Bruce gets the start in center field. First pitch to Salk. Above the letters and high for a ball, 1-0. Before we went to break, you were asking about where was Dr. Pataxel? Where's the hit king? And, well, actually, they're still on the bluff here. They're working in the dugout now. Holcroft, a coach for Portland, as Salk puts a fly ball into center field. Kane going back. He's at the warning track. It's carrying it. It's gone! Yabo, Jonas Salk. And the Pilots take a 1-0 lead off the solo home run.
Yeah, excellent job with the fastball just over the plate, and Jonah didn't miss it, man. It was absolutely blistered. Line drive, home run out of the yard.
Salk's second home run of the season, 4th RBI, and his 7th hit. In his 8th game of action, here's another look at it. That was about belt high.
Number 43, Aaron Lewis.
As Aaron Lewis, the freshman left fielder, getting the start from San Francisco, California. 1 hit so far in 12 at-bats in the early season, 5 strikeouts. He's hitting .083. Corey, I imagine there's going to be, some familiar faces in this lineup. There's going to be a couple that you do not know, as Lewis flares one out into left field. Making the catch is Tervel Johnson. 1 away for Portland.
Yeah, it's the new look Pilots. There's 4 or 5 of them in the lineup that we've seen play. A couple of them played a lot last year, but the one thing about the coaching staff here at the University of Portland is they can really coach it up, and I'm pretty confident that they'll get this group going in the right direction.
Brady Bean stepping up, the junior from Kennewick, Washington. Best hitter on Portland's team so far, average-wise. He's hitting .429 through 7 games, and he's picking up another hit here. First pitch he sees sends it right back into center field, and there's a 1-out single for Brady Bean. Bean now picks up his 13th hit of the season.
Another fastball over the gut of the plate. And, one thing I'm going to tell you about that transition from the NWAC and junior college to the Bluff, and I can speak on both sides. If you leave a ball elevated, the Division I guys don't miss it. And it's always a good swing, and it's always a hit or a home run.
Curtis Hebert, the designated hitter for Portland, steps to the plate. Hebert, two-way player out of Anchorage, Alaska. Throw over to first. Bean gets his hand back on the bag. No tag applied. Pitch to Hebert. Got it off the end of the bat. Actually, I think that might have made contact with Lynn behind the plate. Goes for a strike, 0-1. Here's the defense for Seattle U. Johnson is in left. Kane is in center. Stevenson is in right. Your infield from left to right is Sebastian Lopez, Tyler Peterson, Vincente Feliciano, Reese Harmon, and then your catcher is Jackson Lind. Middle infielders playing for a possible double play opportunity. Hagler throws back over to first. Handled by Harmon. Bean back in. 53 degrees here on the bluff. As this ball gets away from Lynn, Bean will move up to second. So now there's another runner in scoring position for Portland after already having the leadoff home run from Jonas Salk. Hebert just making his second start all in the season. Had 2 hits in his last start. That was game 3 against Creighton. Finished with back-to-back singles in that game. Breaking ball from Hagler, low and away, 2-1.
Got to spend some time with Hebert last summer. He was with the Richfield Raptors, and I was the pitching coordinator. And he two-wayed with the Raptors, and I really enjoyed getting a chance to be around him. A super intelligent young man, and really knows how to pitch. And so it was a lot of fun to spend time around him and watch him. Very dominant this summer for the Richfield Raptors.
Yeah, talking to Coach Loomis, he's got 2 or 3 pitches that he can consistently get into the zone this year. They're excited to have him in the starting rotation. The 3-1. Hebert will lay off of it, and that's a 1-out walk. 2 aboard now for Portland.
And that's the one thing that I think that Coach Loomis has done a really good job with is he's not afraid to move guys around and use them in different spots. And I look out in the field and I see McCarthy in right field, and we have a new third base coach, obviously. And then, Connor Lambo, pitching coach here for a long time, slid Trey into that spot. Now he's off coaching in the Big Ten for Washington. So Loomis has just slid guys around. Holcroft's in the dugout taking that spot. So very good at having multitaskers.
I think it's great. You bring back Holcroft and Pataxel to be in your dugout for Portland. You keep that culture that they helped build over the last 4 years here at the University of Portland. Probably one of the more successful teams over the last decade or so. That recruiting class, I should say.
100%. And like I said, I do think it's a loss to lose Lambert, but it's great for Washington. Bad for the Pilots, but Trey Watt can coach pitchers too. And I don't think they're going to miss a beat. I really don't.
Oh, well, he did a great job helping out with Caden Siegel the other day. 10 strikeouts and a relief appearance against Creighton in that last game on Saturday. A game that, unfortunately for Portland, just escaped them. They tied it up in the bottom of the 8th, and then Siegel, the only mistake he made all day, ended up being a home run, in which ended up winning it for Creighton in the 9th. High chopper into foul territory off the bat of Howard, goes for a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, the one thing about Siegel, man, he is a competitor, an ultimate competitor. And you had told me post-game, I didn't get a chance to actually watch it live, and I went back and watched the footage of it, and my goodness, he was competing this weekend, and, very competitive young man, and fun to watch.
There wasn't a single player that he went up against that he was afraid of. He went after every single person. It almost seems like a broken record, first pitch strike, and set the tone early in the at-bats. That last pitch missing the zone to Howard, 2-1. We'll be dealing with about 9-mile-an-hour winds here at Joe Edsel Field, possibly 18-mile-an-hour gusts as Howard lines one back up the middle into center field. Bean sent around third, and it gets past Kane in center field. It rolls all the way to the wall. Coming around third and scoring is Hebert. Howard will hold up at third, and 2 runs come in to score. It's 3-0 Portland.
Just another great swing.
Get a look at it right here.
Just didn't do much with it. And, we talked about a lot last year on how great Pataxel was. And one of the things that I commented on so much last year is how Pataxel just took what the game gave to him. If he got a ball in the outer half, he'd hit it to the right center gap. If he got a ball in the middle, he'd hit up the middle. And if he got a ball that he can get off on, he'd hit it off the wall. And the Pilots do a great job with that, and it's probably obviously Coach Loomis is teaching the hitters down there, but what Pataxel was able to do, instead of just a lot of college hitters, they just want to get off on every single swing, and they want to hit a double or a home run. You get a ball out over the plate, you whack it up the middle, and now you got 2 runs. So a really great swing there.
Talked about what Pataxa was able to do. Last year, he hit .524 in conference play. And you have a guy like that still in your dugout, able to help out his younger teammates.
Yeah, and I don't want to be a fanboy, but I'm a fanboy. We got to see him play for a long time, and his progression from being a very defensive player to becoming a very offensive and defensive player, and just a mature hitter. And like I said, he just did what the game gave to him, and he had such a successful year. I mean, arguably probably one of the best all-time here on the Bluff. No disrespect, Coach Loomis.
Well, he owns a few records here. Then you also have the hit king down in the dugout still with the hits record. Jake Holcroft leading the way. He passing his head coach as Zach Talia steps to the plate. His first time today. Ball low, blocked by Lind. It's now 2-0 to Talia. Talia, a bit of a shaky start this year, hitting .087, just 2 hits on 23 at-bats. He has driven in 4 runs. He's drawn 5 walks. One of his 2 hits did go for a home run. Back up the middle, and it'll be backhanded behind the bag at second and dropped on the transition. Trying to get the ball out of his glove. Howard will score. It'll be an RBI for Talia, but he'll reach on the error. And that's just unfortunate for Feliciano.
The third baseman, number 6, Spencer Scott.
So a second run will come in off of an error. It's now 4-0 for Portland in the first inning. Spencer Scott steps to the plate for the first time. Grant High School product out of Portland, Oregon. First pitch he sees is low, out of the zone for a ball, 1-0. As expected, no hit for Talia, E4. He gets his lead off the bag at first, the 1-0 pitch. Scott pulls it towards short. Start over at second for Feliciano, over to first, not in time. So Scott will reach on the fielder's choice. Talia's retired for the second out. That was all started by Tyler Peterson, the shortstop.
Yeah, great little play by Peterson there. Nice uphill feed, a little bobble on the exchange, and obviously couldn't get that backside rabbit with that bobble.
As Riley McCarthy will come to the plate. Starting out in right field today. Normally he'd be behind the plate or the designated hitter for Portland. The first pitch he sees, off speed, off the plate from the right-handed bat, 1-0. He's hitting .143 this year. In 7 at-bats, just 1 hit, 4 runs scored. He has walked 7 times, though. He's seen the ball well through the zone.
Yeah, one of the things that Hagler's struggling with here in this first inning, obviously they've had a couple errors, but a lot of hard contact because every first pitch is a ball. And when you get behind in the count, then the hitters can start eliminating areas and start to hunt pitches that they like to hit. And we've seen just 3 really hard hit balls.
Hagler will get a strike on the inside part of the plate to McCarthy, 1-1. Portland 3 hits so far, 2 singles and a home run. McCarthy lays off the slider away, 2-1. Scott takes his lead off. Decent lead off the bag at first. Takes his secondary. McCarthy will take strike 2 of the at-bat, 2-2.
McCarthy didn't like that last pitch. He was out there out in the river, and he thought it was a ball.
Land can't field this one cleanly behind the plate. Scott will take second. He's in scoring position for McCarthy with 2 outs. Seattle has struggled this year in the first 7 games so far coming into today. They had 15 errors, so you're averaging about 2 errors a game. as McCarthy took the high pitch and fights it off for a foul ball. Full count, 3-2.
Yeah, and it kind of breeds in itself, you know what I'm saying? It's like a ball gets underneath the glove there, and then the tension goes up because it's been happening, and then Feliciano gets a ball that's an easy pick and stick that he's going to throw a guy out, and he doesn't get it out, and then they have a double play and they don't get it out. And it's one thing that young ball clubs and ball clubs in general need to do is to eliminate the negatives when they happen. The consecutive negative is always get you in trouble. So recognize there's a negative, take a deep breath, and change. Make a change. Be the guy that wants the ball, be the guy that wants to make the play. But been coaching baseball a long time. Every big inning it always ends up with some walks and some consecutive negatives.
Down the right field line, this will tail foul onto the right field berm. Back to the full count on McCarthy.
It's not a very nice game to coaches either. I mean, he gets a hit up a single up the middle, and it goes to the wall and run score. And I mean,
this one goes off the glove of Hagler. Fielding it is Peterson. He eats it and was going to throw it back to third. Scott never came off the bag, and just another unfortunate play where the momentum of the ball just died after hitting the glove off of Hagler.
Yeah, and I think if Hagler doesn't touch it, Peterson makes the play easy, and it's just example of it. And I love Peterson there with the understanding the timing of the play, knowing that he probably isn't going to get the guy at first. He's going to go with a full arm fake and see if he can get a rounder on the backside there. But great play by Peterson.
Gage Bruce steps to the plate now for Portland. Bruce, a sophomore from Woodinville, Washington, same as our starting pitcher Ryan Rembisz. Takes the inside pitch high for a ball, 1-0. Hitting 143, just his fourth appearance on the season, his second start. Trying to get his second hit as he bats from the right side, slightly closed off stance. Runners on the corners for Portland, 2 outs. This goes over the white line of the left-handed batter's box, 2-0 to Bruce. Starting to sprinkle here at Joe Edsel Field. Bruce puts a fly ball into right field. Stevenson, though, will come in, will make the catch, and that will end the Pilots' half of the first. But not before they score 4 runs. It was a leadoff home run off the bat of Jonas Salk, and a couple errors helped add on to the lead for Portland. Harmon, Stevenson, and Lynn do up for the Red Hawks. "4-0 lead for Portland over Seattle U. Ryan Rembisz back out on the mound. And, Corey, you were asking, where's Jake Holcroft? There he is. He's holding the binder for the Portland Pilots right there in the dugout. The newest assistant coach for the Portland Pilots. And there you even have it, the hit king of the Willamette, as he owns the hits record here as he overtook his head coach Jeff Loomis last season. And it feels like such a long time ago, Corey, I don't know if you remember this, but that 2019-2020 season when we opened up at Ridgefield, that was his freshman year.
Was that about 12 years ago?
Certainly feels like it. That was the season that unfortunately ended due to COVID right before conference play started.
Yeah, I got to spend some time with Holcroft late in the summer. They have a little thing out here called the League, and they run it in late August with a bunch of good players from around the area. And Trey put some pressure on him to kind of run it. And, you have a vision of who the person is from the booth. My goodness, this young man can coach baseball. He's going to be a very great baseball coach someday. Enjoyed my time with him.
Line drive caught by Brady Bean over at second. That'll steal a hit away from Reese Harmon. 1 away for Rembisz on the mound as Jared Stevenson will come to the plate now. And Corey, going off for your last comment, I can't say I'm surprised by that sentiment by any means. Just knowing what he's been able to do on the Bluff, see his play, how he's reacted to coaches throughout his career here on the Bluff, I'm not surprised he's got a bright coaching career out in front of him.
Well, the one thing that I think Loomis does is there's a lot of passionate baseball players there, and got to work with Spencer, another great coach. Got a chance to. Pataxel was around all the time. Howard and McCarthy are around all the time this summer, and all of them are future really great baseball coaches.
0-2 quickly on Stevenson. Rembisz not wasting any time. There's 12 pitches coming into this at-bat. This one missing near the ankles, inside to Stevenson, 1-2. What it sounds like to me, though, Corey, is a lot of high baseball IQ is being brought onto the Bluff at a young age, and coaching them in such a great way. I know that Loomis takes a lot of pride, as this is his 10th season as a head coach here at the University of Portland, and developing the players here at his alma mater.
Yeah, no doubt it's chess, not checkers.
Yep.
And there's a lot of different moves you can make, and Loomis is always thinking ahead, and the players, obviously you got to have a high GPA to be here up on the Bluff, and he recruits great students, great baseball players, but more importantly, just really great dudes, man. Great guys to be around.
Rembisz overpowers Stevenson, gets his third strikeout of the afternoon. 2 gone for Seattle U, and that'll bring up Jackson Lind, the starting catcher. Looked like he challenged him with a fastball there away. As Lynn steps in. Lynn batting from the left side, batting $125 this year. Senior just playing in his 4th game. Wanted to hold the bat back there, couldn't. It'll be 0-1. The senior from Kennewick, Washington. The 0-1. Falls behind 0-2 in a blink of an eye. Infield for Portland playing back. No movement from the outfield from the Pilots. The 0-2 from Rembisz. No call from the home plate umpire. It was a bit too far outside from the left-handed bat. 1-2. Gets it off the end of the bat, pulls it to the right side. Bean charging it, throws it over to Tolia. Almost wide of the bag right there, but it'll stay 1-2-3. No runners on. Nobody scores for Seattle. It remains 4-0 for Portland as we head to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Top of the order, Salk, Lewis, and Bean due up. Ryan Rembisz has made quick work of Seattle U with 6 straight outs, and take a little bit of your classwork to the ballpark today. It's nice enough for it. The sun peeking through to our right. Deal with some cloudy skies at Joe Edsel Field. Brian Slyke and Corey Keir on the call as Micah Hagler is still on the mound for Seattle U after getting a bit roughed up. 4 hits in that 1st inning. It did not help that. He had a couple errors behind him that allowed some runs to come in and score. But we go back to the top of the lineup. Jonas Salk led us off in the bottom of the 1st with a solo home run. Jump out to an early 1-0 lead.
Yeah, one of the big differences between Micah and Ryan is that Ryan's in the strike zone early. And like last inning, you're like, 0-2 that fast, 0-2 that fast. Well, he'd get 2-0, and then these hitters would hit it. And then what happens when you start a hitter at 1-0 and you start him 2-0, then the fielders get bored, and then that's when the errors start to happen. So you got to get in the strike zone.
He'll even the count with that swing and miss from Salk, 1-1. Salk 5'10", 190. Put a good drive into center field. The ball that traveled over 388 feet in dead center. And off the bat, I thought it had warning track power, but it just kept carrying and carrying into center. Soon enough, ended up in the trees. The 1-2. Wanted to chase it. They checked down to the first base umpire and Tyler Wall, saying he did not go around. That'll put the count at 2-2.
Well, trajectory was line drive, and he literally hit a line drive out of here. It was a missile.
This ball bounces into Lind. He's unable to backhand it cleanly. Full count to Salk. Salk got challenged with a high pitch, swings and misses. Strikeout for him to open up the bottom of the 2nd. Aaron Lewis will step to the plate now for Portland.
Number 43, Aaron Lewis.
Lewis will foul off the first pitch behind us, 0-1. Lewis just playing in his 4th collegiate game. Coming into today, he's batting .083, 5 strikeouts in his 12 at-bats, only 1 hit so far. Puts this one in the air into shallow center field. Kane is coming in. He'll call off his infielders, and he'll make the catch. 2 gone for Portland. Sends Brady Bean to the plate. Bean singled his last time up. Came around to score off the hit from Tyler Howard. High and inside for a ball, 1-0. Slider breaks the last second in the zone, 1-1. Hagler, though, 39 pitches coming into this at-bat. Line drive out into right field. Stevenson ranges to his right, drifts back, and makes the catch. 1-2-3, second inning for Portland. Nobody left on, no runs off of 0 hits, 4-0 as we head to the 3rd. Lopez, Peterson, and Johnson coming up for the Red Hawks. Seattle U has gotten the best of Portland the last 3 times that these teams have faced off. The Pilots, though, have jumped out to an early 4-0 lead after a 4 spot in the bottom of the 1st inning. Seattle U, despite dropping all 4 games this past weekend at the Tony Gwynn Legacy Tournament down in San Diego, they ended up dropping all 4 games. Played San Diego State, UC Santa Barbara, Utah, and Long Beach State. Some pretty good programs down there at San Diego that past weekend for Seattle. Chopper up the middle. Salk to his left behind the bag. Throws across his body over to Tolia, and they'll get the first out in the 3rd. Lopez is retired.
Yeah, nice little play there. Just glove side ranger. Took a great angle to it in a quick exchange and get a nice out.
Now batting the shortstop, number 8, Tyler Peterson.
Tyler Peterson, the starting shortstop for the Red Hawks, steps into the plate.
So far, I kind of like Tyler. He's a good little player.
Yeah, showed some nice glove work over at short. Let's see what he can do at the plate. The left-handed bat will take strike 1, 0-1. Peterson, a senior from Fox Island, Washington. Batting .333 through 7 games, 5 starts. This one he pulls to the right side. Bean plays it in shallow right field over to Tolia. And there's 2 gone, just like that. And we have the 9-hole hitter now stepping up, Tervel Johnson.
Now, I don't know where Fox Island, Washington is. I'm going to have to learn. I mean, you're from Chicago, but I'm from Washington, and I should know where Fox Island is. And it looks like he played for the Red Devils before he was a Seattle U guy.
This ball fouled off to our right and out of play. Well, it looks like it's in the middle of the sound. Oh, no. To the left of Tacoma.
Real
Ball
close
to Johnson, 1-1.
Real close to Tacoma. I never heard of it. I grew up in Auburn and spent some time down there in Tacoma growing up, and I never knew about Fox Island.
Well, now you know. The 1-1. Hit over to the left side. Scott fields it on the hop. And another 1-2-3 inning for Rembisz on the mound. Seattle U struggling to get anybody on base, and see what Rembisz is doing on the mound. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. Hebert, Howard, and Tolia. Four 4-0 lead for Portland over Seattle U. Portland trying to end a 3-game losing streak to the Red Hawks. This game was supposed to take place up at Seattle, but with some of the poor weather up there, the field was not in great condition. The two coaches talked and decided to move it down here to keep the game on, as the Pilots have struck first in the bottom of the 1st. As Micah Hagler back out on the mound, he's going up against Curtis Hebert. Hebert walked in his first at-bats. No official plate appearance for him. Take a first pitch ball, 1-0. And Corey, you and I were just talking at the break. One of the problems for Hagler is he's consistently starting out 1-0.
Yeah. He's only had one hitter that he started out with a strike. He gets behind, and all the hits have happened 1-0, 2-1.
All of them in hitters counts. Abear lifts this one into center field.
Gone.
Kane is at the warning track. Watch it go. Yabo! Curtis Abear. Abear, I believe that's his first home run of his career. And it's a solo shot in the third to add on to the lead for Portland. It's 5-0.
Yeah. 1-0 count, catches a heater up, hits it out of the yard, and that's the thing. You got, as a pitcher, you got to get ahead of those hitters, and if you are going to be behind the hitters, you got to be down. And Abear just looks like he's got a little hard hat.
Yeah, he's
there.
got the hard hat on. That's one of the fun things about college baseball, as Howard takes a ball just below the zone, underneath the knees. 1-0 is the props you get out in the dugout. I know, when I first moved out here in the Northwest, the College World Series going on, as Howard puts one into the gap. That'll be his second hit of the day. It rolls all the way to the wall. We'll get back to that thought as Howard strides into second base with a double after the home run. And so the hits keep coming for Portland.
With a 1-0 double.
So again, it's the 1-0 count where you think about, for Hagler, he has to get it into the zone as you fall behind 1-0, and Portland is just tattooing it. They're dialed in.
Yeah, and let's not discount how well the Pilots are hitting today. I mean, these are great swings, working the gaps. I mean, the Pilots are dialed. They're really swinging the bat well today.
Gordon, do you guys have any fun props at all?
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because there's the Corvallis Knights. You've heard of the Corvallis Knights?
In the West Coast League, yep.
In the West Coast League. Well, they started playing at Mount Hood back a long time ago, and I still have Corvallis Knight stuff in our clubhouse, our press box, and they left this I don't know what you want to call it, a helmet of a knight. And our kids have found it, and now our kids want to use it. If a kid hits a home run, you get to wear the Knight helmet.
Is it a mascot helmet? Is that what you're saying?
No, it looks like something from when you go to one of those jousting Johnnies.
Yes.
It's a jousting helmet.
Tolia squares one up into center field. Kane doesn't have to move. Sticks his glove up, makes the catch, tagging up from second, moving to third. It's going to be Howard. He's now 90 feet away from scoring after the fly out from Tolia. So you're telling me it's more of like almost like a medieval helmet type thing.
It's a medieval knight helmet, and it was from back when they were there. And like I said, our kids. As a matter of fact, we got a bunch of kids in the front row, and one of the kids down there, he took an at bat the other day with it on. It was ridiculous, but yeah, they think it's pretty cool. And I actually think there's a rule in the NWAC. I'm going to have to check that you're not allowed to have props. So I got to be careful that we're not bringing out the knight helmet if we ever hit a home run in the trees.
All right, Spencer Scott steps to the plate with one out. Infield brought in for Seattle with Howard over at third. What's wrong with having a little fun?
Oh yeah, no, that's one of the core pillars out there. Got to work hard. You got to learn something. You got to compete your tail off, and then you got to have fun, or it's not worth doing.
Scott will put this one into left center field. Johnson going to it, and it's going to drop in the gap. Misplayed by Kane. Howard will score easily, sliding into second, head first, and safely. It's Spencer Scott. He's got himself a 1 RBI double.
Yeah, a little miscommunication out there. I think the left fielder probably could have caught that baseball and probably should have.
Yeah, I thought Johnson was in the right spot. He was in front of Kane, and maybe Kane had called him off. We can't tell from all the way back here in the booth, but take another look at it.
No, we might be wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, it might just been a hit it where they ain't type deal. I do know that Spencer got jammed a little bit on that. If you ask him, I guarantee he didn't say that he barreled that. But the one thing about him is he ran a great base running rate. He hit that, and if you went back and watched, there was no hesitation. He was running a double out of the box, and that's why he's standing on second base.
And we're going to have a mound visit as it's 6-0 for Portland. One out here in the bottom of the third inning. 2 runs have already come in to score. It was a solo home run off the bat of Abear. And Scott just hit in Tyler Howard.
That's pitching coach Danny Sales out there, a former Mount Hood Saint, and actually skippered right before I took the job. He was the temporary skipper. He was working for Brian Donahue, and then had the job, and then decided to take a job at a higher level. And here he is coaching pitchers at Seattle University.
Yeah, first season as the pitching coach at Seattle U. As he'll head back to the dugout. No pitching change for Seattle, so we'll see how long Hagler has left. He's thrown 51 pitches through 2 1/3 innings of work. And Corey, I know you and I have always talked about if you're at 12, 13 pitches per inning, you're pitching about an A+.
Yeah.
And not exactly how Hagler wanted this outing to go, but it goes back to not being able to get that first pitch strike and get ahead of the hitters.
Yeah, 100%. You got to get ahead of those hitters. You got to have the ball down. And, Danny probably went out and said, hey, son, we're going to have you pitch 75 pitches today. Let's get us out of this inning and not give up any more runs. That's probably what the conversation was. Because these guys are getting work. I mean, this is a midweek game, and we're going to, see some pilots that probably haven't played much, and we're going to see some Red Hawks that haven't played much. And so he's going to get his work, and then next time he goes out, he's going to be down, and he's going to be in the strike zone more, and he's going to have success.
Well, and there he got McCarthy to swing and miss. 2-1's the count.
Well, and the game is just so unfair. He's already struggling, and then when you're not making plays behind it, obviously it's a very unfair game, very humbling.
McCarthy sends us out of play to our right across the street. 2-2. Hagler so far through 2 1/3, he's allowed 7 hits, 6 runs. 4 of them have been earned. 1 strikeout, 1 walk. Of those 7 hits, 4 have gone for extra bases, 2 doubles, and 2 home runs. 2-2. McCarthy pulls this one foul. Looked like Lopez was able to get his leather on it, but it's in foul territory. We'll go back to the 2-2 count.
Yeah, I'm going to predict that he's going to actually end up having a pretty good year. I mean, he pitched at Bellevue and was well coached and had a lot of success. And, he's taken that level jump, Division I, got to figure out how to get it done at this level type thing. And he's obviously Danny's going to coach him up, and he's going to learn from this. And I guarantee if the Red Hawks play the Pilots again, he'll be better. And the next time he pitches, he's going to be a lot better.
As we said at the top, this game was supposed to be at Seattle, but because of the rainy weather, the field conditions were not great to host. So they changed the game to Portland. Ground ball hit over to the right side. It's going to be gobbled up by Feliciano. The throw over to first will retire McCarthy for the second out, moving Scott over to third. He's now 90 feet away from scoring after the ground ball. That'll bring up Gage Bruce. Bruce is looking for his first RBI of the season. He can do that with a base hit. Bruce last year had 1 RBI in 9 appearances for Portland. Off-speed breaking pitch on the inside part of the plate, 0-1. Yo 1. Fouls this one off of himself. Falls behind 0-2 in the count. This is the only meeting between these two ball clubs this season, which I think is kind of a bit strange with how close these teams are. Usually you've got a couple of midweek games. It's never a full weekend series between these two.
Bunch of my guys sitting right there in that front row.
Oh, yeah. A bunch of Mount Hood Saints right there behind home plate.
Yeah, they rolled through the door this morning at about 5:20, set up at 5:40, and we practiced from 5:40 till just about 8 o'clock this morning.
Those guys have been up for almost 12 hours already.
Yeah.
There, you get a look at them right there.
Every one of those guys dream about playing for one of these teams, and so I told them that it was going on today. It was a great opportunity to watch 2 pretty well-coached ball clubs, and I'm glad that they showed up. They care about baseball, man.
It takes a special type of person to show up to the diamond when you have some off time. You still want to catch some baseball action. Here's the 1-2 to Bruce. Ground ball left side through the 5-hole. He's got his first RBI of the season. Scott will score. And Bruce has himself an RBI single that'll extend the inning. Salk will come up for his third at-bat.
Yeah, I think we're almost every pilot in the lineup's got a hit.
You would be correct. There's only 2 that have not gotten a hit. Talia did put the ball in play, but he reached on an error.
Yeah, he hit the ball hard up the middle that they'd shifted with the pick and stick that got out, but he got the RBI on the. And the question is, that's a rules question that I don't know. I'm pretty sure he got the RBI on that error, because it wasn't a 2-out error; it was a 1-out error.
He did get the RBI.
Yeah.
Salk is 1 for 2, the solo home run to open up the scoring today, and then he struck out his most recent at-bat, and that was awfully close over at first. Hagler almost had the pickoff of Bruce. Bruce has a decent lead over at first. Salk stays away from that pitch, and he'll be rewarded with a 1-0 start. Hagler peeks over his shoulder, back over to first. And another close play for Bruce, just getting back underneath the tag.
2 outs. He wants to throw slider, and he knows Loomis will run here, so he's trying to slow him down.
There he goes. Salk waits on it. Lind didn't have a clean transition out of the glove. He'll hold on to it as Bruce moves into scoring position.
Yeah, a total mistake pitch, too. I really think they were going to pitch out, and he threw it right down the gut. The hitter was kind of surprised.
Salk dealing with a 1-1 count. They'll give the stolen base to Bruce. Salk takes ball 2, 2-1.
Yeah, we had a big conversation with our catchers about calling pitches, and when you get 2 outs and a guy on first base, one of our goals is we need contact before he can find a way to get to second base. And he started him with a ball 1, and he threw it around down the gut, was hoping for contact, and he took. Now there's a guy on second base, and it just changes everything. You know, you go with a runner on first right here in that situation with 2 outs, you're not really worried about him scoring. The minute he gets out to second base, it doesn't take much. You know, ground ball that sneaks through, a little flutter ball or a hard hit ball.
2-2 count, 2 outs. Hagler looks back at Bruce, check swing from Salk, sends it into the backstop, back to the 2-2 count.
That's why you got to be really careful when you got a guy on first base that you're pitching him like he's on third base with less than 2 outs. You know, do everything you can to get that guy out before he gets to second base.
Feliciano keeps an eye on Bruce, retreats back to second base. Salk barrels one up into center field and misplayed by Kane underneath his glove. Salk thought about going to second. Now he'll go back to first. Bruce will come in and score off of the single. And I don't know if Bruce would have scored had Kane played that cleanly. Let's take another look.
No chances. It's away from play side.
Yep.
The only way he throws him out there if it's a missile straight at him that he can come. And I still think it's problematic with the 2-out lead that he had in the 2-out secondary. Looks like Coach Harrell's coming out to make a pitching change.
He is. He just takes the ball from Hagler, and his day is going to be done. New arm coming in for Seattle. We'll get you the name and numbers when we return. 8-0 lead for Portland off of 9 hits so far. They're 2 2/3 innings. We'll return on ESPN+. 8-0 lead for Portland as Micah Hagler's day is done. Caden Alberghini is the new man on the mound for Seattle. 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, and just 3 2/3 innings pitched so far this season. Holds a 14.73 ERA. Now it's that time of year where everything's a bit more skewed in the early seasons with that ERA for Alberghini. Alberghini is just making his 3rd appearance on the season. He's allowed 8 hits, 6 earned runs, and he's given up 3 extra base hits, 2 doubles, and a triple as well. But big body out on the mound, 6'6", 275 out of Issaquah, Washington.
Yeah, it looks like he played defensive end in the fall. He's a big cat. He's the guy that gets off the bus first.
As we are getting ready to start play up again, it'll be Aaron Lewis who's the first man he has to face. Lewis is 0 for 2 today, a fly out to left field and a fly out to center field. Salk about 6.5 feet off the bag, takes a secondary. Check swing from Lewis, rolls foul. Over by the first base coach's box for Portland, 0-1. Brian Pollard over in the first base coach's box for Portland. Lewis. Tight to the plate in the left-handed batter's box. Alberghini throws over to first. Salk gets his hand underneath the tag. 0-1.
Yeah, Coach Pollard, workhorse, man. The guy works all summer long. Great infield guy, great knowledge of the game. And both the guys running the base coaches have just great knowledge of the game.
0-1. Alberghini comes home with it. Over the white line of the right-handed batter's box for a ball. 1-1. Not as many fans in the stands today as we saw this past weekend, but this was also a game that wasn't supposed to be here today. It was supposed to be up at Seattle. Ground ball to the right side, slow roller taken in by Feliciano. Over to first, Lewis will be retired, and that ends the third inning for Portland. 4 runs come in to score, though. It is now 8-0 in favor of the Pilots. We head to the top of the fourth. It's the top of the order as the Redhawks look for their first hit. As the clock strikes 4 here at Joe Edsel Field, it's an 8-0 lead for the Pilots over Seattle U. They're trying to end a 3-game losing streak to the Redhawks, and Ryan Rembisz has looked good early on, Corey. He's had command of the strike zone and has not allowed a hit so far through the first 3 innings.
Yeah, he's getting ahead of hitters, getting them buried in the count. They're getting bad contact, making defense and playing defense. The hardest part is he's had 2 big innings, and he's had to come in and pitch after big innings. Prime example, first pitch, right in the strike zone, breaking ball. Now he's ahead.
Kenny Ishikawa is leading things off for Seattle U. He grounded out to Zach Tolia to open up the game. Takes a second pitch, ball 1-1. Exactly how difficult do you think that is for those types of arms like Rembisz, as this ball tattooed into right field, but right at Riley McCarthy? He has to take a couple steps to his left, and he'll make the catch on the fly out in right field. One away as Sam Kane will come to the plate. But as I was about to ask, though, Corey, with these long innings for pitchers, how difficult is it to sort of get back out there after having to sit for such a long time?
I think it's difficult, and a lot of times you got to have the feel to get them up and actually have them go pitch a little bit if it gets too long, especially when it's cold and wet. We've been here for a minute already, an hour. And he's only thrown like 35 pitches. Hasn't been out there very long, so it's important to keep him moving around and doing it. So, and some guys don't like to do that, and some guys need to do that. So, but another hitter, 0-2, makes for a pretty easy day when your starter's ahead of every hitter, 0-2.
And a strikeout for Rembisz. That'll be his 4th, his 2nd on Sam Kane this afternoon. And with 2 gone, that'll bring up Vincente Feliciano.
Number 5, Brendan Stinnett.
Oh, correction. Pinch hitter up at the plate. Brandon Stinnett taking over for Feliciano. Flares one out into left field. And all the run making the catch is Aaron Lewis. And that will end the 4th inning for Seattle U. They remain hitless. We head to the bottom of the 4th. 2 up for Portland. It starts off with Brady Bean when we return on ESPN+. 8-0 lead for the University of Portland over Seattle U as we're on the campus of the University of Portland in North Portland. And it's Brian Slack and Corey Keir on the call. And right now, it's just been an easygoing start for Ryan Rembisz. 4 strikeouts, has not allowed to hit, and he's working with an 8-0 lead. And I don't think it gets much easier for a guy like that as he's been dialed in. We've talked about it multiple times, just continuing to hammer the strike zone early against these Seattle U hitters.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said, in the open, he's pitched every situation. He's been the guy that's come in as a freshman when we were down 8-0. He was the guy that came in tough situations at the end of his sophomore year to get guys out. He's been the gap guy, and now he's mature and he can just go out and eat innings. And I'm not sure if he might end up being an inning eater for him. Excuse my language there, but yeah, a little stumble there. Sorry about that. But the Pilots have a lot of good starters. There's a lot of good pitching down there, but it's nice to see Rembisz have success out there.
And you have to think about where this pitching staff was just a year ago, and they were in a great position. As Bean will take a strike here. He starts out 0-2 to Alberghini. But you had Nick Brink get drafted, you had Sam Stewart get drafted, you had Joey Gartrell get drafted, so you had 3 arms. I know Gartrell didn't throw a whole bunch last year dealing with an injury, but you had 3 guys that would have been in your rotation. 2 of them were in your rotation that got drafted back in 2024, and so you're starting to sort of remake your pitching rotation, and it seems like Portland's got some arms that they feel pretty confident about.
Yeah, no doubt.
One defensive change. Brandon Stinnett is now the second baseman as he took over for Vicente Feliciano.
I mean, you've got Morgan in the dugout down there, Condron that has experience, starting experience.
Had a rough outing against Creighton the other day, had a career high in hit batters, but Coach Loomis, talking to him, he's very confident having him as one of the 3 starters for Portland during a weekend series.
I mean, he looks like a big leaguer on the mound, big physical cat. Another guy that was at Richfield early with a bear. And you got Siegel. He could do anything. I kind of think he's a firefighter / close guy. I mean, just some good arms down there.
Hebert steps to the plate. Hebert is 1 for 1 with a walk and a solo home run in the 3rd. He's scored twice so far today. Bean, by the way, who just got a hit, that's his 2nd hit of the day, which means he now has 14 hits on the season.
On his way to being the next hit king.
I was going to say, Holcroft's going to have to watch out down there in his dugout.
I don't know, 14 is not many. What he had.
It's early in the season. Of course, Bean's already starting a bit behind his first year. He was at St. Martin's, Division II school, part of the GNAC. He was the GNAC Freshman of the Year before transferring to the University of Portland last season. The 0-1 to Hebert. Went after the high pitch, 0-2. Now, one question, I haven't had a chance to talk with Curtis, but how many games do you think he actually got in the high school season playing in Alaska?
Oh, I think they had a pretty extensive Legion. I asked him that question this summer, and I think they had I think he played in a pretty good Legion program.
Okay.
Those Legion teams probably play 50, 60 games, I imagine. But there wasn't high school baseball, 100%. I think it's just Legion. That's
what I figured. It made me think of, when I was reading a book about Carlton Fisk, and he grew up in New Hampshire, and they were only playing, 13, 14 games during the high school season because of the snowy weather in the Northeast. This ball bounces into the first baseman, Harmon, but he's able to glove it. It's 0-2 still.
Same thing out in Montana. I mean, there's a lot of great players coming from Montana that they don't have high school baseball, and they're playing in Legion programs, and yeah.
This ball just squeaks away from Lynn, but staying over at first is Bean. First ball to Hebert, 1-2.
Yeah, and think about a lot of the Canadian kids as well. I mean, the Okotoks have players in both dugouts. They're a club up in the Okotoks, and they don't play high school baseball. And what they do is they have club baseball and a club season in the Western Canadian Baseball League, and that's how they get polished so they can come and have these opportunities.
Hebert goes down with a strikeout. First out in the 4th inning for Portland. Tyler Howard will come to the plate. 2 for 2 today with a single and a double, and both times he's reached base, he came around to score.
Enter number 20, Tyler Howard.
Still runner on first for Portland. 10 hits so far. The first 3 and 3rd innings of work for Portland. Howard takes one above the letters and inside for ball, 1-0.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch Howard's maturing of a. I mean, he showed up and he could really defend, like right off the bat. He was ready to go on the defense side, and he started to become more and more polished as a hitter. And one thing I know about him is he just loves the game of baseball. Skyview kid up there in Vancouver. Got a chance to watch him play as a high school coach, and man, he's turning into a really good Division I baseball player.
I was going to say, that was probably, one of your last high school seasons you were coaching was his senior year?
And maybe I wasn't coaching because I did a little softball. I might have been doing softball. But I've always been a Howard fan and watched him play, and obviously watched, I live out in that area, or did.
Got out ahead of this one, chopped over to third, and they just got him over at first off the throw from Lopez. Moving up to second is Bean. He's now in scoring position with 2 away, and Zach Talia coming to the plate. But a high IQ, guys. You're talking about Howard and
Well, and McCarthy too. I mean, both these guys their catching staff is just so smart.
Well, I was going to say, if you're going to be behind the plate and you're having to run things for this team, you're going to have a high baseball IQ. And Zach Talia steps to the plate, 0 for 2 today. Reached on an error in the first, but he did drive in a run, and then he flew out to center field, his most recent at-bat. First pitch he sees, Alberghini is low and away below the knees. 1-0. Wind blowing out, looking at the flag in left center field. Not much wind right now. Looking between 5 and 9 miles an hour. Sun finally shining down here at the ballpark. Talia comes up empty, swinging at the slider. It's 1-1.
Brand new, beautiful AstroTurf out here today. They redid their field. You can tell there's really no patches. It was.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
That was one of the things they did during this offseason was, you're right, they had a few patches on the infield. Fly ball into center field. Kane will come in a couple of steps, makes the catch. Talia is retired. The Pilots strand 1. No runs coming to score here in the 4th. It remains 8-0 as we head to the 5th inning. Rembisz going to be out on the mound. Harmon, Stevenson, and Lind with their second chances. 8-0 lead for Portland as Ryan Rembisz comes out for another inning of work. He's looked pretty good so far. Through 4 innings, he struck out 4 in 12 batters face. He's only thrown 35 pitches through 4 innings as we start inning number 5. I would say that's, can you say that's better than an A+, Corey?
Yeah, on pace to pitch 12 innings. So.
Doesn't look like there's any changes defensively for Portland. As Rembisz, this might be one of his first balls to open up against a batter. It's Reese Harmon, the first baseman, with his second chance. Harmon lined out to Brady Bean at second in his first at-bat. Rembisz responds back with a strike. It's 1-1. Your outfield is still Lewis in left, Bruce in center, McCarthy in right for Portland. Scott is at third, Salk at short, Bean at second, Talia at first. Wind up and throw from Rembisz, and not enough bat to reach that ball. 1-2.
Yeah, Rembisz has a very good breaking ball, and he's very comfortable with it. And he goes strike one, or ball one, strike with the breaking ball.
Tries to come back and get a chase on a fastball, misses low and away. 2-2.
Yeah, we were talking about this new turf. There's another addition that I don't know if you noticed this last weekend, but there's a second first base bag. Did you notice that?
I did actually. I talked with Scott Lakem, who was actually on the baseball committee for the NCAA this year, and he said that was one of the new things that they added on. You see the orange bag down over at first, and talking about the reasoning behind it, it's easier to tell what the running lane is as this ball fouled back into the netting. We'll go back to the 2-2 count. And then also it cuts down on possible injuries, running into the first baseman or anything like that with the base runner.
Yeah, it gives you access to a bag so you don't have to. I mean, one of the problematic things is a little ball out there, you're running in the lane, and
we'll get to it in just a second. Fly ball out into left field. Going back is Lewis and reaches up, makes the catch in front of the warning track. And a long out for Harmon. First out here in the 5th.
Now you can take a lane to the orange bag instead of to the white bag. And then, sometimes that catcher would come out and throw it and he'd hit you. And then there'd be an argument on whether it was in the lane or not in the lane. So I think it's for safety. I think it makes it easier for the umpires. But there is some weird stuff on how it's touched if you go by it. Are you talking about,
like, if you were to turn left as if you were going to second? Is that what you mean?
Well, if you go to second, you're going to hit the inside of the white bag.
Yep.
But if you go by the second, or you can touch the white bag or the orange bag. But I think if you
ground ball to the right side, Bean keeps his glove on the ground, throws it over to Tolia, came off the bag. Did he get his foot back on it? He did. And so there's 2 gone. But you were saying, Corey?
Well, there's just some rules on on what you can touch and how you can touch it, and we're allowed to use it. So in the NWAC this year, you can have an orange bag if you want an orange bag. Now we didn't do that this year. We probably won't do it this year. But as it starts to happen more, I think we'll just mandate it and it'll happen. So.
Coming to the plate for the second time is Jackson Lind. Lind is 0 for 1. He grounded out to Brady Bean over at second base. Bean actually is in shallow right field. At his second base position, you can see him on the right side of your screen. Swing and a miss. 0-2 on Lind.
Yeah, I think Lind hit a line drive right at him last time, kind of in the same spot. Might have been Lind.
That's a couple batters off. It was Harmon before.
Hey, left-handed guy.
Yeah, no, you're right. The 0-2. Strike 3. Rembisz gets his 5th strikeout in the 5th inning. 3 up, 3 down. Broken record here at the Ets. Seattle U remains hitless, bottom of the order. Scott, McCarthy, and Bruce will come to the plate next for Portland. Caden Alberghini is back on the mound. A little bit of a flyover here at Joe Edsel Field. It's finally getting some sunshine on the bluff. We've been dealing with rain for the last 3 or 4 days. We actually had to cancel our Sunday game against Creighton because of the weather here, so we're happy to see some sunshine in North Portland. As we get set for the Pilots to come to the plate in the bottom of the 5th, Spencer Scott will lead things off for Portland. As Jackson Lind, who was just getting his catcher's gear on, he was the last man up at the plate for Seattle U in the top of the 5th inning. But Portland dialed in at the plate and on the mound. Ryan Rembisz has looked spectacular so far. Seattle, they're trying to get that first win of the season, but it's an uphill battle right now. They gave up 4 runs in the bottom of the 1st thanks to a solo home run started by Jonas Salk as the leadoff man for Portland. Couple errors benefited the Pilots as they got 2 more runs in off of errors. And then they scored 4 runs in the bottom of the 3rd. Started with Curtis Hebert in his first career home run as a Portland Pilot. Scott takes the first pitch, ball high. It'll be 1-0. The 1-0. Back to Alberghini, excuse me. He'll throw it over to first. 1-3 in your scorebooks at home. First out here for Portland in the 5th. Riley McCarthy will come to the plate now for Portland. McCarthy 1 for 2, singled in the 1st, and then he grounded out to, at the time, it was Feliciano. Now, Brandon Stinnett is the second baseman for Seattle. Check swing into the net just to the left of the dugout for Seattle. 0-1 to start off McCarthy. Now, Corey, you missed the new uniforms that they debuted this past weekend against Creighton. They have a new cream-colored uniform with pinstripes. It's Portland across the chest in cursive and purple writing. Now, the only downside, no numbers on the front. But they were a clean-looking uniform for Portland as they got new unis this year.
Yeah, I saw it on the social. It's a good look. It's a good look. But like you said, no numbers on the front, and that's not conducive to the radio guy or the TV guy.
I'll be honest, we're not important in that aspect. I'll find out the numbers sooner or later.
Well, you still have pretty good eyes, and you can tell who they are, but me, I need those numbers.
As McCarthy sits ahead in the count, 2-1. Two-one delivery. Alberghini to McCarthy. Puts one in there for a strike. Looks to be just below the belt, but in the zone. 2-2. Bruce is on deck. He too is 1 for 2 today. Two. McCarthy pops this one up. It's on the infield. Harmon had it. Now he's going to be called off by Stinnett. In shallow right field. 2 quick outs for Portland here in the 5th. Gage Bruce will come to the plate now. Flew out to right field in his first at-bat in the first inning. And then he had an RBI single back in the 3rd along with a stolen base, and he came around to score one of the 4 runs in that 3rd inning. He bats from the right side with a closed-off stance. First pitch swung on and missed, 0-1. Flag starting to blow towards left center field. Alberghini gets set on the first base side of the rubber. Fly ball down the right field line. This will go foul, though. And actually out of Joe Edsel Field. Past the right field berm and somehow missing multiple cars over there, Corey. Does it every time.
90% air.
Watching a couple of kids park their car down the right field line and just knowing that's dangerous territory. It's the 0-2. Bruce fights off that pitch. He'll stay alive with the 0-2 count.
Pretty busy day on campus. Actually, when I pulled in, there was really not any parking spots around, and I thought I was going to end up out in the death zone out there. and it's 90% air, the trees and the cars, unless I park my truck there.
Well, then, yeah.
And it's 100% hit my truck. My truck's a ball magnet.
I will say it's first pitch was 3 o'clock. We got here around 1. Class is still going on here on campus in the University of Portland. Bruce goes down with a strikeout, and the Pilots go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 5th. No runs, nobody left on base, and no hits. We head to the 6th inning. Lopez, Peterson, and Johnson coming up for the Red Hawks. Ryan Rembisz has looked good through 5 innings. Seattle still looking for their first hit as they trail 8-0 to the Pilots. Rembisz has 5 strikeouts through the first 5 innings as he'll go up against Sebastian Lopez for the second time. Lopez is 0 for 1 with a ground out to short to Jonas Salk. Slider missing the zone. First pitch ball, it's 1-0. Corey looking through the scorebook right now for Rembisz. Only a couple of fly balls. He's done a good job of, when the ball's been hit into play, it's been on the ground for the most part.
Yeah, and the strike-to-ball ratio is pretty ridiculous. I mean, I don't know the totals, but my gut feeling is that he's not throwing a lot of balls today. It's a good pitch there that he did not get.
It's now 2-1. Only thrown 47 pitches before this at-bat. Barreled into center field, and making the catch over his left shoulder is Bruce. 1 out here to start off the 6th inning. That'll bring up Tyler Peterson, the shortstop.
Number 8, Tyler Peterson.
That senior from Fox Island, Washington, with the Lower Columbia Community College, I should say. Slider for a strike to open up this at-bat, 0-1. Off the end of the bat, played by Scott over at third. Actually, that's not Scott anymore. That's Cole Katayama Stahl, who just came into the game. So Katayama Stahl making the nice play over at third.
Left fielder, number 44, Tervel Johnson.
So now I got to go back and look at how the defense is lined up. That is the only change defensively for Portland. So Spencer Scott's day is going to be done. You're going to get a freshman out in the field and give him some run and opportunity. Johnson takes a strike at the knees, 1-1. Well, you didn't get a chance to see Katayama stall against Creighton, but his first at-bat, the first pitch that he saw as Johnson swings and misses here. It's now 1-2. It was a home run over the pilot wheel in right field for his first at-bat at Joe Etzel Field, and that's quite a way to make an opening statement. Johnson goes down on strikes, and Seattle U remains hitless. We head to the bottom of the sixth, 8-0 for Portland. Top of the order, Salk, Lewis, and Bean. Portland Pilots lead 8-0, 4 runs in the first, 4 runs in the third, and it's been goose eggs since, as they've gotten that off of 10 hits, a couple home runs, and 2 errors as well for the Red Hawks. Now, those 2 errors led to a couple runs in the first inning, as the Pilots scored 4 runs off of a solo home run from Salk. They had a couple errors, but Tolia drove in a run as well. And Pilots out to that 8-0 lead as Jonas Salk comes to the plate for the 4th time today. He's 2 for 3, home run, a single, RBI, and he also struck out. First time he's going up against Alberghini, though.
He's been very impressive today.
He has. Alberghini came in the third with 2 outs. Went up against Aaron Lewis as his first batter and got him out on a ground out. Since then, he's only faced 1 batter over the minimum for himself. Fly ball down the right field line. This could be trouble into foul territory. It's Stevenson giving chase, and it ends up in the right field berm. Long strike for Salk, 1-1. You could say somewhat of a shift right now for Seattle. Not a big one. Their second baseman, Stinnett's more playing up towards the bag at second. There's a big hole on the right side of the infield for Seattle. The 1-1. Salk takes the inside pitch despite lifting his hands. It's called a strike, 1-2. You see that opening on the right side of the infield. Salk isn't necessarily one to hit it opposite field too often, but he has that capability. Pulls this one over towards short. Charging it is Peterson. Up and throwing. Salk is retired for the first out in the 6th. So Aaron Lewis looking for that first hit at home. Picked up his first hit of his collegiate career at California Baptist a couple weekends back. See today he's 0 for 3. A fly out, pop out, and a ground out.
Seems like whenever there's a game like this and everybody in the dugout's got a hit, there's always one guy. Yep. He's the one guy. I'm rooting for him.
Fouls this one off. We'll start out 0-1.
You were talking about Stahl hitting the first at-bat ever here.
Yep.
Hitting the ball out of the yard. Over the years when that kind of stuff happened, I'm just going to predict he's going to be a really special player. I've only had a few guys in their career I'll never forget. Out at Sunset High School, we had this kid named Kevin Taylor, and as a freshman, he hit the first at-bat at Sunset High School. He hit a ball opposite field home run, and then his second at-bat, he hit a pole home run. Hit 2 home runs in one game. Ended up going down to Western Nevada, signed at ASU, ended up playing with the Dodgers. Pretty special player. And when you do that with special stuff, usually you're a special player. And I think it's pretty interesting to hit a home run your first at-bat with the Pilots. That's cool.
The 0-2 to Lewis. Got Got an inside pitch and sends it into the dugout for Seattle U. You know, I was out with a couple co-workers after a basketball game, and somebody actually approached us asking if we had worked at the University of Portland. We said that we did. And they were asking about the baseball team, and if we had heard of this kid named Cole Katayama Stahl. And I said I knew that he had signed with Portland, hadn't heard much about him, and this gentleman was raving about the two-way talent of Katayama Stahl. As Lewis, big league pop-up here into shallow right field. Stinnett camps underneath it. He'll make the catch. 2 gone. But then you get a chance to see him play for the first time. Bats from the left side. He's got good size. And, yeah, absolutely tattooed the first pitch that he saw of his at-bat here as a Portland Pilot and put it over the right field wall. And, yeah, he certainly has a bright future ahead of him.
Man, that last pop fly, man, it was up there so long. I was like, wait, they need shuttle tiles to get back to the atmosphere. That ball made me think of the Oregon game of a few years ago on the walk-off win in the rain.
The rain, fighting off the rain,
and the ball going up there like that. So, it was way above the lights, man.
Of course, this time you didn't have to fight the lights as it goes above. We've talked about it before where you basically lose the ball once it gets above the lights. Still one swing from Bean. They appeal down to first. He went around for a strike, 1-1.
Still one of my all-time favorite Pilots moments when little brother Sukata gets pulled from the bench, pinch hit ball off the wall, tie the baseball game after Oregon was really running it to them early in the game. And, yeah, pretty cool moment in time here on the Bluff.
This ball pops out of the glove of Lind. Actually, Sukata had a nice hit the other day against Creighton. It was very similar. Off the wall in right field of the Pilot wheel. I think what you really would have appreciated was Teddy Dieters, who was the right fielder at the time. There were 2 Pilots on base, and he flashed his gloves as if he was going to make the catch, and it held up both Pilot runners. Ended up being a long single for Sukata and leaving the bases loaded as Bean fouls this off and makes the count 2-2. And it just made me think of you and the chess game you could play in the game of baseball.
Yeah, acted like he was going to catch it, and little deke, we call that.
Yeah, held up the runners and ended up being a big inning for Portland anyways, but just those small things you can appreciate in the game of baseball. 2-2 with 2 outs. Nearly in the dirt. Lind is able to keep it in front of him. Full count now to Bean.
I see Katayama Stahl is a Westview kid. Makes me think of another story of a guy acting like he was going to catch it. They used to have a pretty good player out there named Trevor Crow, and I was coaching at LaSalle High School, and we had an arm that thought he had a pretty good fastball, but he thought he could get this kid out with the changeup, and our catcher ran out there, and I went out to visit, and he says, "Man, I can get him with the changeup, coach." And I laughed and said, "Okay, go ahead and try it." And he gave up probably the farthest ball I've ever seen hit at LaSalle. But my favorite part is our center fielder acted like he was going to catch it, and Trevor rounded first base and started heading back to the dugout, and then it landed on top of the house about 100 yards past, and just a pretty fun moment in coaching history for me. Our center fielder, he was just a card. He said, get out, and then the ball lands 100 feet past the fence. But, every time I've seen the head coach in the past from Westview, he always talks about that story and how Trevor Coe hit it 450 feet, and our guy acted like he was going to catch it.
Gotta love it. As Bean reaches via the walk, Hebert steps to the plate. He's 1 for 2 today with a solo home run and a walk, 2 runs scored, and an RBI. Looked like he got it off the end of the bat, but behind us for a strike. They'll make it 0-1. Bean, by the way, has now reached base for the 3rd time today. 2 singles and then the walk in his at-bat that he just had. Alberghini's at 43 pitches, now 44 after that last one. High and inside, Hebert gets out of the way, evens the count at 1-1. Put things into perspective, Micah Hagler, who started the game for Seattle, threw 69 pitches through 2 2/3. Alberghini's gotten through 3 full innings, only allowing 1 hit, 2 strikeouts, and a walk. Another throw over to first, no tag applied. Dinette, the second baseman, playing a few feet to the right of the bag as we look out. Lind gets out of his position to block that ball. 2-1 now on Hebert.
Sun poking out finally. It's beautiful. Snow last week, then a bunch of rain, and now tomorrow we'll be out on the baseball field in the sun. I'm excited for baseball in the Northwest to get started. The high school start next week. Kids have been working hard. I see it all over social.
This ball fouled off. It actually looked like it went off of Lind for a moment. Hebert now has a 2-2 count. And correct me if I'm wrong, but Donahue and Columbia River, they won the state title last year. They're going to defend their state title this year, correct?
Yeah, that's always a hard thing to do. To win a state title and then have to bounce back and see what you can do. Well, he graduates a lot of guys, so he might go from first to worst. You never know.
And a diving stop by Peterson at short. The high throw, though, is going to get away from him. Hebert will stay put at first. Moving over to third is Bean. But what a flash of the leather right there by Peterson. Just couldn't get the throw down low enough, though.
Yeah, the key there, great play, but the key there, that's where you have to use the turf. You see, he makes a great play, and he stands up here, and this is when you want to go super long hop across the field. Keep the ball down, give yourself a chance to get an out, and not let a guy advance 90 feet. But got to use the turf there.
As Tyler Howard is the next man up, and he's been a dangerous hitter too. Single and a double and a ground out so far. As we have a pitching change for Seattle. Alberghini's day is done. New arm coming in from the bullpen. We're going to step away. 2 outs here. Bottom of the 6th inning. Runners on the corners for Portland. Reed Madariaga has taken over on the mound. Madariaga, so far this season, he's making his 5th appearance. He's shown up the most so far for Seattle. He's thrown 9 2/3 innings, giving up 11 hits, 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts to 4 walks. Has a 2.79 ERA. He's given up 4 extra base hits, 1 double, 2 triples, and a home run. Opponents are hitting .289 against him on the season. Madariaga will go up against Tyler Howard. First man he will face with runners on the corners. Alberghini, by the way, 3 innings, 48 pitches, 2 hits. As Howard takes a high fastball above the shoulders to start him out 1-0. No earned runs at the moment for Alberghini, but that could change. He is responsible for both runners on the corners. Howard doesn't chase on the slider. 2-0. Runners going for second. Lind will hold on to it. No attempted throw over to second base. Hebert will be in there safely. Both runners now in scoring position for Portland with 2 outs.
Redhawks in priority third right there. Down a bunch of runs, not going to throw to second base and try to get Hebert out for fear that they might score.
A late called strike right there by the home plate umpire, Kevin Rice. Howard had already tossed his bat and was about to take off his shin guard. Instead, it's a 3-1 count. Now it's ball 4 to Howard. He'll take his base, and the bases are now loaded for Zach Tolia. You know, at this point in the season, still very early. You haven't even made it to the 3rd weekend yet. But for a guy like Tolia, who only has 2 hits so far, you've got the bases loaded, 2 outs. I feel like it comes to a point where you don't want to be pressing too much, but you know you want to hit in this type of situation.
Yeah, I think you want to fault to aggression, no doubt, in this situation. Runners in scoring position, you don't want to get buried. And then again, just learn from the doctor. And what the doctor is going to do is, in this situation, if he gets a pitch on the outer half, he's going to hit it to right field. He's not going to try to get gangster on it and try to pull it. And so that's the key here, is just whatever the arm gives you, do it. So
as Tolia spoils the pitch from Madariaga.
I think it's harder as the season stacks on, and you're a good player. You're expected to be in the lineup every day, and maybe you only have 2 hits, and it starts to pile up on you mentally. When you know what you really need to do is just relax and go through that process.
Fly ball into shallow left field. Coming in is Johnson, and he'll make the catch on the run. Retires Tolia. 3 left on base for Portland. No runs coming to score. In the bottom of the 6th, it stays 8-0 as we head to the top of the 7th. Ishikawa, Kane, and Stinnett come to the plate for Seattle. All right, some changes defensively all around for Portland. Rembisz is still on the mound as he's been looking good through 6 innings. He has not allowed a hit thus far, but outfield, though, is a whole new platoon. Cody Nidowitz is out in left field, a transfer from UC Santa Barbara. Henry Mensch out in center field, and then Jace Miller is now in right field taking over for McCarthy. So Lewis, Bruce, and McCarthy's days are done for this one as the Pilots have an 8-0 lead as Kenny Ishikawa steps to the plate for the 3rd time today. It's grounded out over to first to Zach Tolia, and then he flew out to right field. At the time, it was to Riley McCarthy. He takes a first pitch ball from Ryan Rembisz. Ishikawa swinging for the fences. No connection with the ball, 1-1. The infield stayed the same as the last half inning, but there was a change during that last half inning. It's Cole Katayama-Stahl over at 3rd. Salk is at short. Bean is at 2nd. Tolia is still over at 1st with Howard behind the plate. Ishikawa swings and misses on the breaking pitch from Rembisz. That's strikeout number 8.
That's center fielder, number 17, Sam Kane.
Correction, strikeout number 7. Sam Kane comes to the plate. He's been a strikeout victim twice so far. 1 hopper back to Rembisz. The underhand flip over to Tolia, and there's 2 gone here in the 7th.
The second baseman, number 5.
Brandon Stinnett will come to the plate. Stinnett came in for Feliciano. Feliciano only had 1 at-bat. It was a strikeout back in the 1st. Stinnett came to the plate in the 4th. And a fly out to left field to Lewis. Rembisz just went over the 60-pitch mark here in this inning. He's now at 63 pitches after that last one. Stinnett fouls it off, evens the count at 1-1.
On pace for 11 innings now instead of 12.
It's going down just a bit. He has the offense to back him up today. 8 runs on 11 hits.
Man, it's a good pitch right there.
Yeah, it was. Right on the edge of the plate for a strike.
Good luck.
Right. It's not much that Stinnett could have done right there, batting from the left-hand side. The 1-2. Back at it, this time with a fastball. And Stinnett will go down with a strikeout, and that is strikeout number 8 for Ryan Rembisz through 7 innings. He's still rocking with the 8-0 lead. We head to the bottom of the 7th, and it's the 7th inning stretch here at Joe Etzel Field. Eight-0 lead for Portland. And coming to the plate is Cole Katayama-Stahl for his first at-bat of the day. Just hitting 200 in this young freshman season. 2 hits and 10 at-bats, but both of them were long balls. One at California Baptist and the other one against Creighton this past weekend. First pitch breaking ball from Madariaga goes for a ball. 1-0 to Katayama-Stahl. 2-0.
Don't give him a heater here. He might repeat.
Yeah. We'll see how Madariaga comes back to him. Behind 2-0. Inside. Gets the strike called. 2-1. 6'1", 190 out of Westview High School. He was swinging for the fences right there. You could tell, 2-2.
Yeah, you think about Westview High School and some of the great players that come out of Westview High School. About one calendar year, we watched the Beavers come in, and there was a little teeny guy named Mason Guerrera that hit 3 home runs out of here, a Westview kid.
Little.
Yeah.
That was the game where Guerrera had 3. You had Bazzana had 2, I believe.
Yeah, Bazzano's first one was just mangled, just mangled.
Full count, Katayama Stahl drives one into the gap, into right center field. It's going back, and it's off the base of the wall. Rounding first and into second, Katayama Stahl has his first hit of the day, his 3rd hit of his freshman campaign.
That'll show how many times I've been in the booth this year. I got a little excited. I thought that ball was out of here.
Almost.
Well, and especially the way the game started. I mean, similar ball, where the game started, got out of here, and that one didn't, just off the base of the fence. But that ball was tatered.
Yeah, literally hit where the fence meets the ground. Katayama Stahl hit that ball exactly about 367 if you look at the numbers out there. As Jace Miller, the right fielder who just came in the last half inning for Riley McCarthy, now steps to the plate. Miller does not have an at-bat so far this year. Swings and misses at the first pitch offering from Madariaga. It's 0-1. Miller, a redshirt sophomore from Medford, Oregon, went to South Medford High School. The 0-1, missing the bottom of the zone. 1-1.
He's going with the Sturries today. He's got nice stirrups on compared to some of the other pilots that are in the solid black.
Yeah, the long socks, yeah. Stirrups, I feel like you just don't see that very often now. Breaking ball falls in for a strike on Miller, 1-2.
Well, and he's old school, too. He's got the sannies on, the tall sanitaries with the stirrups over, because now they make the cheater ones that they're one sock, but they look like they're stirrups and sanitaries.
Bats from the closed-off stance. Took an inside pitch and sends it out of play to our right. And again, missing the cars over there. 1-2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the pants up. I think short guys look great. Our guy on deck, Henry Rembisz, looks good with those pants up.
Now, it was always, when I played, not that I was very good, always had the pants up, much like Mensch does right now. Just, it never felt comfortable having the pants all the way down when I was playing, but it's to each preference.
Yeah, well, a lot of different phases. I mean, I can remember we wore our pants up, and then along came Manny Ramirez, and we wore our pajamas to the baseball game. And then, and my favorites were the mids, the ones that they were too short to go down and too tall to go, or too tight to go up. And you just wore the 70s mids. Yeah, that's good stuff.
And as Henry Mensch will step to the plate.
Nice to see him back and healthy. I mean, last year he was hurt and chased a lot of foul balls last year.
Hopped the fence quite a few times out of the dugout. Swings and misses off the pitch from Madariaga. It's 0-1. Mensch is looking for his first hit of the season, though. 0 for 12 on the year. 3 walks, though. He has scored 2 runs. Challenged thigh high with a fastball inside, 0-2.
Ball looked a little down. I don't think Henry liked that pitch call.
Falls behind, 0-2. Fought off the high pitch, pops it up behind home plate. Wind giving chase. It's going to go out of play, though. Fan happy with the foul ball.
I love it. Grandma went running down the stands to get the ball for the grandson. It looks like Grandpa's holding him. That's pretty cool right there.
Yeah.
Pretty darn cool right there. Grandpa and Grandma. I assume Grandpa and Grandma. No disrespect to his mom and dad, but he's crazy if that's dad. That's awful old to have a young kid like that. But I love it, Mensch
goes down with a strikeout, 2 gone. Now it's back to the top of the lineup. It's Jonas Salk. It's Cody Nidowitz, who checked in out in left field for Aaron Lewis. He's the man that's on deck. No at-bat today for him. Salk, though, has had a pretty good afternoon. Home run and a single, couple RBI. He's 2 for 4. Pops up the first pitch he sees. Out towards the dugout for Seattle, giving chase. And unable to make the play was Reese Harmon. And it looked like he got over to the dugout and then just couldn't find it again before it hit the ground.
Yeah, actually, Reese did a really good job of getting to the fence, and I think he got distracted by the catcher in that situation. Got to the fence, saw it, and then I think he felt like the catcher was going to get him. So,
well, either way.
Oh, Mama Bear's coming to get the baby because the ball came too close. We're good. He got his ball now, and he's going to sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got a nice souvenir. The 0-1. Salk chasing the high fastball, 0-2.
Yeah, that's a fun time. I remember when my kids were young, taking them to ball games, and yeah, some great memories. We were talking just the other day, great baseball moments that I've been at, and I got an opportunity to be in San Diego when Trevor Hoffman made his last appearance with my young family, and my youngest was in a stroller, and my oldest was 7, and when he came out, to this day, there's nothing more electric than Trevor Hoffman coming out of the bullpen, man.
This ball popped up into shallow center field. Stinnett is called off by Kane, the center fielder, who will make the running catch, retire Salk. And left stranded over at second was Katayama Stahl. No runs coming to score. It stays 8-0 as we head to the 8th inning. Harmon, Stevenson, and Lind come up for Seattle's first hit. Well, the Pilots lead 8-0 here at Joe Etzel Field. It's Brian Slyke and Corey Kier on the call. And Ryan Rembisz has been economical on the mound. Just 67 pitches, 21 batters faced through 7 innings, 8 strikeouts, no walks, no earned runs so far, and no hits.
Big Spurs out there today. This young man is pitching the heck out of it.
Reese Harmon comes to the plate. He had a line drive over to Brady Bean back in the 2nd inning. At second base, he was caught out, and then he hit a ball into left field. At the time, it was to Aaron Lewis. First pitch from Rembisz. Tries to paint the outside part of the plate from the left-handed bat. Doesn't get the call. 1-0. Foul ball. That'll go out of play behind us. Evens the count at 1-1.
We were talking about ballpark moments. I was telling you in the break that one of the other exciting moments that I had is I was blessed to have tickets the first day Major League Baseball came back from September 11th at the Mariners. Pretty incredible environment. How about you, Brian? What's your most memorable baseball moment?
Most memorable baseball moment?
Pro moment in the stadium.
Probably the first time I ever went to Wrigley Field and just taking in the atmosphere. It all happened out of a whim, basically. 1 and 2, by the way, after the foul ball. But back in 2nd grade, we were just writing about, what our ideal day was. And I was talking about smelling popcorn at the ballpark. And at the time, the 1-2 delivery swung on and missed for a strikeout to Harmon. That's the 9th strikeout now for Rembisz. But little did I know, my dad at the time had already bought tickets for a Cubs game at the time. It was against the Cincinnati Reds. But my parents read the note. My mom decided that it'd be a good time for me to go to my first baseball game, and my dad ended up taking me to Wrigley Field back when I was in 2nd grade. Cubs lost 9-1. Corey Patterson had a solo home run, but it was the first time I saw Sammy Sosa in person, and to see the energy that he brought out on the field and the way he interacted with the fans, too. I'd never really seen a ball player interact with fans on a regular basis in between innings, and to me, that's a special moment that it still stays with me. I remember it like it was yesterday, being the first time going to a Major League ballpark. The 0-2 swung on and missed. Howard will come out in front of the plate, and throw it over to first. Back-to-back strikeouts for Rembisz. Worst part was, I didn't know I was going to a Cubs game at first. I grew up a Mike Piazza fan, so I was wearing my Mets shirt at the time, and we got to my dad's friend's place, and he goes, all right, you're going to have to take that off, and they got me a Cubs shirt, and he told me at that moment that we were going to a Cubs game.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and I like the reference of Corey Patterson. He was one of my fantasy league guys. 'Cause back at about that time, I was playing fantasy league, and it was old school fantasy where you'd get the newspaper the next day and go through the box scores to see how your player did. And I remember Corey Patterson.
It was one of the few bright spots for the Cubs during those times. I mean, it was 2000. It was the back end of that 2001 season.
You're young, Brian.
Swung on and missed. Rembisz strikes out the side as Josh Gunnigan just came in as a pinch hitter. It stays 8-0. Pilots leading. We head to the bottom of the 8th. Cody Nidowitz, Brady Bean, and Curtis Hebert come to the plate for the Pilots next. 8-0 lead for Portland right now as they come to the plate for the bottom of the 8th inning. Cody Nidowitz will lead things off for the Pilots. And a new catcher coming on for Seattle.
Big Spurs, Ryan Rembisz has 78 pitches through 8 innings. Early season, we could see him in the 9th. Brian, what do you think?
I think we're going to. Only 78 pitches. He's pitched terrific so far. He's got 11 strikeouts.
And no runs.
No runs. There's a goose egg underneath the hits column as well for Seattle with 3 errors. We could see something that hasn't been done since 1958 in a Pilot uniform today. New pitcher on the mound, Kenny Ishikawa, who started the game as the leadoff hitter for Seattle U. He is now on the mound taking over. Rembisz, by the way, easily crushing his previous high in strikeout total, which was 6. He's now at 11. As Nidowitz leads things off for Portland, the first pitch he sends into foul territory, a dribbler over by third base. He'll start out 0-1. Nidowitz is hitting .214 through 6 games this season as he takes ball 1 high and away. 3 hits through 14 at-bats, 4 runs scored. Does have an RBI to show for it. Ground ball up the middle, and that'll be past a diving Tyler Peterson. So it's 1 man on now for Portland. That'll bring up Brady Bean as Nidowitz reaches base. The other thing we should note for Ryan Rembisz, no walks today either. No hit batters. Nidowitz takes his lead off the bag. Bean slides down to a knee on the foul ball. He'll start out 0-1. Bean today is 2 for 3. Single in the first, single in the fourth, and he walked in the 6th. His only time that he did not reach base was a flyout into right field back in the 2nd inning. Bean check swing, called a strike, 0-2. No call from the home plate umpire. So 1-2 on Bean. Throw over to first, Ishikawa. Does not get the tag applied. Nidowitz for Portland. One-two delivery. Strike 3 called on Bean at the knees and inside. Delayed call will be the first out against Portland as Curtis Hebert will come to the plate now. Hebert picked up his first career home run for the Portland Pilots in the third inning. He's 2 for 3 today. Walk, home run, 2 runs scored. He also has a single where he got left stranded over at second back in the 6th inning. Hebert, swing and a miss. It's 0-1. Hebert, swing and a miss. With all his might, drops down to a knee. It's 0-2. Defensively, it's still the same for Seattle from the beginning of the game, except for second base as Hebert takes a ball inside, just scooting out of the way of that one. Johnson still out in left, Kane in center, Stevenson in right. Lopez, your third baseman. Peterson is at short. Stinnett has taken over at second for Feliciano. And then Harmon's over at first. And then behind the plate, there was a change as well. The 1-2. Hebert struck out looking. 2 gone now for Portland in the 8th.
Yeah, he skated that 0-2 pitch, and generally I don't think Coach Loomis would have liked a skated 0-2 pitch when you have a chance to get hit and get to first base, but that is one of their rotational arms.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah.
Okay, Bear, go ahead and skate that a little bit, especially in that 8-0 game.
Right. So that one was getting inside. Howard will foul off the first pitch he sees into the netting behind home plate, 0-1. Howard takes ball 1 of this at bat. It's now 1-1. Small lead over at first. Nidowitz will get back safely on the soft throw over to first.
I'm not sure he really needs to make that throw in an 8-0 game, and quite frankly, I think the Pilots want to get back on defense pretty fast. I think we're all thinking the same.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page on that one as it's ball 2 to Howard. It's now 2-1. Yeah, with history possibly in the making right now, Rembisz has not surrendered a hit yet to Seattle. He has not walked a batter. He has not hit a batter. The words will not come out of my mouth.
Yeah. We were talking about special games in history, and it's always fun when you get to these points where there's opportunity to see something you don't get to see very often.
Howard takes ball 3, now works with a full count with a runner on first and 2 outs.
And quite frankly, no matter what happens, it couldn't happen to a better Pilot. I mean, he really was grinder. Like I said, he's gone from being the guy that comes in when they're down 8-0 to being the guy that's going to start a midweeker, and I think he's going to have a special year.
Howard gets this between short and third. Stretching from first to third is Nidowitz, and he's in there head first safely. And no, he came off the bag. They're going to say he's out. Tag was applied by Lopez. And Coach Loomis, he wants a review. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks.
Yeah, I think he's safe. A great base running. It was a play-side play. There is 2 outs. He probably shouldn't have come per book. But one of the absolutes of base running is knowing your own ability. Like number 1 is see the baseball. Number 2 is know the situation. Number 3 is know your own ability. And he thought he can get there.
We'll see. And yeah, his foot came off the bag. It was his hand came off the bag. It was technically on the foot of Lopez. Is how it looked at that angle. But the umpires will get a chance to take a look at themselves, and they'll give us an answer in just a moment.
So you saw his hand come off there, huh?
I thought I did, just briefly. So Nidowitz, he was over at first as that ball squeaked into left field. Now, initially, it looked like he was safe. He got his hand underneath it, but as Lopez was falling to the ground, I think that is what jarred his hand loose.
Well, this is my first replay.
Yeah, I was going to say, the first time you've got to see this in this ballpark.
We've got the orange bag, we got the new turf, and now we have replay.
Yeah, now we have a replay. Newly introduced here at Joe Etzel Field.
Now, Brian, do you know what the rules are? Is it a red flag? Is it a you get two of them, or is it one, or how does it work?
I actually do not know. I believe you get one challenge, but there's no red flag you throw out. Just the head coach will come out and put his hands to his ear saying he wants to review.
Yeah, I think the umpires have done a really good job today. It's been pretty easy on one side because Rembisz has been so good, but yeah, I like it. It's a nice rule. It's a nice rule in a big situation. You know, Division I baseball has become really important. You know, it used to be important, but guys weren't getting paid to do it. Now at the highest levels, they're getting paid to do it. You know what I'm saying? So calls like this in big games mean a lot now.
Yeah. Just looking it up, by the way, 2 challenges per game for each head coach, and they're going to say Nidowitz is out. And that'll end the 8th inning. Here's a look at it one last time. You see his hand come in. It ends up on the foot as Lopez falls down. His hand is still on the foot, off the bag. Tag is applied, and he's out. 8-0 Pilots. We head to the top of the 9th. 8-0 lead as we head to the final inning of work for Ryan Rembisz on the mound. 78 pitches, 8 innings of work, no hits, no runs, 11 strikeouts. That's a career high. No walks. And he's faced the minimum, 24 batters. As he's looking to do something that has not been done ever in a Pilot uniform. 9 innings, holding a team hitless. They've had a couple of 7-inning ones. The last one for Portland was in 1958 off the arm of Art Bull. But 3 more outs to go as Seattle is going to send up a couple of new hitters to the plate. Michael Tsoukalas, the senior from Arlington, Washington, steps to the plate. Ground ball right side, dribbler into foul territory, touched by Tolia for the first strike. It's 0-1.
Yeah, I kind of like the replay call there, and now I understand why the runner thought that he had his hand on the bag. He had his hand on his foot.
Yep.
And he thought he had his hand on the bag the whole time. But yeah, interesting new twist to this year's.
Strike 2 on Tsoukalas. There's a pinch hitter coming up. It's going to be Jason Abner. He's going to be hitting for Tyler Peterson. Popped up. Howard tossing his mask behind home plate, and he'll make the catch. First out here in the 9th inning. Pop out into foul territory. That'll bring up Jason Abner.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now batting for Seattle.
Jason Abner making just his 3rd appearance in a game this season. Does not have an official at-bat. He's come in twice as a pinch runner. Swings at the first pitch from Rembisz. Off speed elevated, 0-1. Rembisz missing this one in the left-handed batter's box, 1-1. The 1-1 delivery. No call from the home plate umpire, 2-1. You can hear the Pilot fans not happy about the lack of call there. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Two-two delivery. Rembisz winds up, throws, swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Ryan Rembisz. That's strikeout number 12. And now the only man standing between him and history is Hunter Comini, pinch hitter for Seattle.
Your attention, please. Now batting for Seattle, number 29, Hunter Comini.
Big Spurs, baby. Big Spurs.
Comini swings at the first pitch, sends it foul towards the bullpen for Portland, 0-1.
Brian, I'd just like to say I really thank you for inviting me to come get this game in today. We didn't plan on doing this, and I'm glad that we got to do it today.
Yeah, this game was supposed to be up at Seattle. The 0-1. No call. 1-1. No walks today for Rembisz. 12 strikeouts. He's gotten through 8 2/3. The 1-1. Swung on and missed. The last no-hitter for the University of Portland was in 1958. Art Bull was on the mound, and he only threw 7 innings. No Pilot has ever had a 9-inning no-hitter. The 1-2. Ground ball to the left side. Charging it as Katayama Stahl. Quick release across the diamond, and he does it. A perfect game for Ryan Rembisz and the Portland Pilots. It's never been done here on the Bluff. And Ryan Rembisz just with the distance. A full 9. 12 strikeouts. No walks. No hits. It's an 8-0 win for the Portland Pilots, as we've just witnessed history here on the Bluff.
What a special performance by Ryan Rembisz today. Speechless, man. And I'm going to tell you, man, my heart's been going for 2 innings. I knew it was coming, Brian. I knew it was coming. He was just pitching the heck out of it. He had 78 pitches going into the 9th inning. Probably one of the most efficient pitching performances I've seen in my entire life. It was incredible, Brian.
Perfect game for Ryan Rembisz, and he was economical. 90 total pitches, the final out. And you raise those arms high, young man. You've done something nobody has ever done in a Pilot uniform before. A perfect game here on the Bluff.
PortlandPilots.com/tickets.
I'm almost speechless, Corey. I can't believe we just witnessed what we just witnessed, a game that wasn't even supposed to take place in this ballpark today. And Ryan Rembisz, he pitched a gem.
Yeah, you could see it coming. You can see it coming in the first inning, the second inning, the third inning, and then about the 5th inning, man, he just got it dialed in. He's throwing the breaking ball for a strike every time, getting ahead of hitters, throwing the fastball up in the strike zone, striking guys out. We saw that in the 8th inning and in the 9th inning, and then to finish the game with the ground ball and throw it across in a big celebration. Congratulations, Mr. Rembisz. Really excited for, a 4-year Pilot, man. Got recruited, came here, done everything, starts his year on the mound with a start, and now he's got a perfect game no-hitter under his belt. Pretty cool.
8-0 win for Portland. That was Corey Keir. Thank you for witnessing history here today, Corey, and everybody tuning in this afternoon. It was a perfect game for Ryan Rembisz and the Portland Pilots as they win it 8-0 here on the Bluff. That was Corey Keir. Thank you to the production crew coming in here last minute with the changes to game day. And it was spectacular. Perfect. Started off with a solo home run off the bat of Jonas Salk for Portland in the bottom of the 1st. And Ryan Rembisz capitalizes. Being perfect on the mound. 12 strikeouts, no walks, no hits, no runs given up. And the Pilots take home the midweek victory. I'm Brian Slyke. Thank you for tuning in to our broadcast. And we'll catch you next time. Stay safe.